Today I have a very, very cool guest in the sense that I have one of the Unsliced first non-open, pre-open people to take on the program and use it towards their brand. And Judy, who we have here today, had a lot of success with it, and I'm very excited to get into that. Before any further conversation, Judy, tell everyone who you are, what your brand is, and where you're located.
Sure. Judy Levin. We opened a winery in Animos, Iowa. Um, kind of not right next to a extremely large town. So yeah, but we're on a major highway. And I'm gonna. I when we first met Mike was actually out at Pizza Expo, and we were going to make pizzas as part of being in the winery. That was going to be our food option, and we're bound and determined, we were going to learn how to make pizza when we're out there, and met Mike in the Unsliced seminar that you had, and read the book, listened to the book again, and I think you sent an email, and I'm sure it was one that went out to many, but I replied to it, and then we had some more conversations, and I haven't regretted it one bit. So I was a little nervous being a non-pizza, non-typical restaurant, but it's been great. It's been absolutely great.
I think that's why I'm so excited is because there's always a misconception that because I came from pizza that this program's only going to work in pizza, but I never went to market on it until I had seen it work with fine dining and our kiosk and our food truck and so many things. And then I realized there wasn't much that was pizza centric at all. It was business centric. And you, of all people, hit the ground running and very, very determined. What were you doing before you took on the winery?
So we were selling wine more at wholesale and at farmers markets, and kind of grown to the point where it was either we're in or we're out. It just wasn't going to make it. I knew the numbers because that's my day job. I do CFO work, so I knew it just wasn't going to work. But I wasn't quite sure how to do it. So finding you along the way helped us get started. So we're now 6 weeks into opening the winery with the restaurant, and having gone through everything, all the classes, and putting things in action, like there's a picture with this is what this menu item looks like, and here are all the steps to go through it and get that done. And it's just been extremely helpful to just use all that information and get the processes in place. As boring, I know we always talk about they're so boring. They are boring, but you got to get them in place to make it work. So it's just helped. I can't even tell you how much. It's tremendously.
Well, I'm stoked off. I find process to be very exciting. Personally, I like it. I'm like, oh, it's done. It's just there. We can just rely on that now, and it's like wash of ease comes over me. Maybe it's because I've gone so many years where it was like, wait, how do I do that? Wait, how do I do that? That I was like, I never want to hear that phrase again.
Mhm.
So it's a big motivator to me. But I guess it is boring technically. When you were signing up, when you're like, all right, we're going to do this thing, what was the biggest challenge you were facing at that moment?
Well, it was a big investment for me, and we were starting a business, and it's like, oh my gosh, do I want to do this? Is it going to work? Am I going to stick to it? Are the guys going to stick to it? Because it's my husband and my son and I that are a big part of this. And your very start is everybody signs an agreement, an operational agreement, and we agree, and they agreed, and now we go over that. Right now we're going over it like every month, just because everything's evolving at the moment. So that was probably the scariest thing for me, but uh, it's way more than paid for itself, and just setting us up to be extremely successful. And I'll tell you what, my staff hears it all the time. So we're going to do it the unsliced way, and let's talk about this. So yeah, so I've had to explain what it's all about, but and even they appreciate it, and they're like, it's like a relief to them that okay, Deanna and Judy aren't just opening a restaurant, never done this, and they don't have anyone backing them and helping them. it's almost a relief for them to hear that, oh, okay, I have a mentor. I have a whole group of mentors that are helping us get this done and done right and be successful.
Well, that's a very interesting point, and it makes sense because I know when I was opening, a lot of my staff was just looking at me like, "All right, buddy, I know I got a 6-month runway till this job craps out. You don't know what you're doing." And there was a lot of that in the air. There just was. And I didn't have anyone, and I think that's why I created this. Uh, but if there was like, no, we're doing it this way because this is what this is what this guy's doing, I think I would have had some more buy-in from my staff instead of that struggle to get them to because they were right a lot of times where I didn't know what I was doing. They're like, why are you doing it that way? I don't know. Like, because I think it might work. All right. Yeah. So very cool. Once you've now been in it, you're open, you're doing events, have the restaurant, have the winery. What have you had the biggest ROI in?
The biggest ROI, it might be a weird one, but I feel like how we hired our people, um, it, it it's in your book, but it talks about don't do it the normal way. Don't do this job entails you have to be able to manage people. You have to be able to do this, do that, do that. I was very generic about it, um, and tried to be fun with it, and I got some amazing people. So I mean, really, that's a huge thing for me. I didn't really need people that knew wine. I needed people who knew people.
Yeah.
And who had a bubbly personality and could talk and would listen and knew that I would listen to them as well. So right now, that's probably my biggest. And then right up behind that would probably be helping me negotiate, um, like getting our POS in. There are so many things that we had to get in place right away. And I'm like, I looked at them all. It was really, really hard, but helping me figure out how do you negotiate that and what do you even our food vendor, that relationship I have now, it they probably have me, well, unless they really majorly screw up, they have me for a very long time because I'm dedicated to them, and you kind of you help me get to that point on, work with them and show them that you're their partner, and if they will be your partner, you'll both be successful and it'll be long term. So that that's where I think I've got the most out of everything up to this point. So
And you're super fresh to it. I'm very impressed with the acumen. I think it comes because you come from a background that understands, having someone else give some level of consulting, but also you've had success in other avenues of your life. You brought it to this, and that's why I think you are hitting the ground so effectively out the gate, and it's really cool to watch. And even but you're not done. We were just on a call today where we went over certain things like ChatGPT, how to use it for your contracts. Currently, you're creating all sorts of stuff along with your brand because it doesn't die. And I'm very happy that now you're open. You're able to use it in other ways and other facets. What are some of your goals for the next 6 months now that you are open?
for the next 6 months is probably to really solidify how we're doing events, and so we have some structure to that. So two of the staff and I are meeting tonight just to talk about, okay, I'm getting a lot of calls. I'm starting to get a lot of calls. So when do we meet with them? How are we going to do that? Who is going to be that person? Where do we show them to go? Bring them out, and to the extent of, she goes, are you okay if I sit down with them and have a glass of wine? Yes. Yes, I am. I want to create that rapport, but we're going to walk through that process. So that's our big thing right now is how do we structure that so
Mhm.
that everyone has the same experience?
For sure. And the consistency arm of it is really important, especially as a new restaurant. So people aren't confusing and thinking, well, oh yeah, but it used to all those things are the death nail of a new restaurant when people have vastly different experiences. Now that you're been in the community for a while, what would be one thing you would say about the Unsliced community?
Oh, I it has been great, um, to just get to know lots of different people. I wish we could get together, like, somewhere. That's I wanna go to the Pizza Expo this next year just to meet everybody, because 'cause we're all so far apart, but, I've had a few messages here back and forth with people, so it's kinda nice to know I can count on somebody else that may be going through the same thing. And I can in my community here, but it's not the same. It's not the
Yeah,
same as I can be way more open with what I'm dealing with when it's outside of Anamosa and it's somebody who's 100 miles away or whatever, and I know they're dealing with the same things and they'll be open and honest with me. So it's extremely helpful that you have that group that you can count on.
I mean, it's been great. The community aspect by, I think, bringing in high level people who are dedicated to their families and to their staff and their community, it just naturally has developed into this really great group of people. And it's something I'm very cognizant to keep preserving as we grow. Uh, if you boiled everything that you've done up to this point with Unsliced, the value you've had, like, what's one word you would use to describe Unsliced as a course, as a program, and why?
One word, I'd probably use community. And I'd use that because I feel like we are a big community. I've been on other calls before where, well, you got to do the work. Don't get me wrong, you got to do the work. But I like the fact that I've been through the course and now I have a community that I can go to. And I've been part of other groups, and there might be like 5 or 6 or whatever join in. And we get on that call, and there's 30 people. So it's kind of cool. I mean, and that's growing and growing. Every time I jump on a call, there's a new person in there. So it's been fun to see it grow and get more and more people involved with that. And just all it's going to do is just add more input, and just a fresh set of eyes on something that I may not be seeing, that we all might not be seeing.
For sure. And now that you're growing, you're doing so many things on your terms. What is it that you do with your day to day now as you're operating this restaurant?
That I do day to day.
Yeah,
So we're only open Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Little unique to a lot of them. My husband and I still work full-time gigs, so we know sooner or later that's gonna have to go away. So my day to day is really at this point still getting a few things in place. Like toast this week was not syncing up, and it wasn't syncing, and it took me a long time to figure that out. So still kind of figuring out some of those things, getting employees in place that will do things for me. I'm letting loose, letting loose like I didn't before. I never thought of myself as having staff. And now I'm
yeah,
like, I do have staff, and I do have very competent staff. So um, getting some of those things moved over to them, so I don't have to do everything. It's nice to have the things already in place, but I feel like they're still evolving.
very,
So
very cool.
we're going to have new things all the time.
And you're doing it with another job. I think I'm very happy that this course has made that possible
Hmm.
for you to launch successfully and build this new life. So hopefully you could transition into it fully, and that it's going to allow for that, because I think a lot of people have their current job, want to open a restaurant, financially can't stop what they're doing. And then even if they do try to do both end up being sacrificed as opposed to being enhanced. And the fact that we've been able to not have that be your story, I'm very happy with. So anyone who's on the fence, who's like, this sounds great, but that's her. Well, I'm not in wine. Like, to someone who's on the fence about joining our community, they are good. They have a restaurant. they are independent, they like their people, they're a decent human, what would you say to them if they're on the fence?
I would say number one, you're just not gonna regret it. I mean, it is it is more than I ever thought it was. And I just I'd want to talk to him in person and tell him and just talk
Well,
to
you
him.
are
It's like,
right now,
it's
kind
good,
of.
it's
Someone's going
good.
to watch this. Someone's going to watch this and be like, well, okay, Judy doesn't seem like she's lying.
Yeah, it's been so good, but you got to put in the work. I mean, it's not like you got to be motivated. So, but to think you can't do the work, you can. It's not that difficult. It's not. It's not that you have to spend 10 hours a day doing it. I definitely did it at my own pace with you guys poking and prodding in the background to say, go, 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 go. So that helps. And we have a group that can help poke and prod as well. Um, it's very doable. It's not astronomical. I mean, I did it in what, like 5 weeks? Um,
You were off to the races.
getting
Yeah.
through that. Um, so it's not as hard as they think it would be. And if there's a piece that they can't find that's super hard, then you have people who can help you get through that really hard part.
That
So
is the intent. And you are the example of that. So, very cool. Judy, to anyone who doesn't know, you want to tell everyone about tell everyone who your winery is and where you are on social media, just if someone's interested in your story so that they can check you out.
sure, sure. Yeah. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can find us under Lovin' Vineyards or Highbrow Wines, either one of those. We've got a website, lovinvineyards.com, highbrowwines.com will get you there as well. And yeah, we love to have people come visit us.
Very, very cool. Again, Judy, thank you so much. I'm very, very stoked for your success and for the success that your family has had with this and the continued growth that you're going to have. That is inevitable because you are, again, to your words, putting in the work, but again, not hard work, smart work. And it is work, but instead of you punching a boulder with your fist, I like to say that I'm giving you my jackhammer. It's still your boulder to break, but now you have my jackhammer, which makes it a crap ton easier. So there you go. Thank you so much, Judy. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the next call.
All right. Thank you.